Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wemimo and I'm also known as That Mom of 5. So if you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. So based according to the title, I'm just going to be talking about renting in the UK as an international student, and just to clear a few things that has kind of like been holding some people back in regards to the fact that they are international students and people have told them that they can't apply for housing with the local housing. Like, the home office that granted you guys visas to come study knows you have to live somewhere to study, and they've not necessarily said that you must live in a uni accommodation or in a particular accommodation. As long as none of that has been said, why can't you apply to the housing? Like, why can't you apply to the local housing for accommodation? Because it's more cheaper, you know. So based on my last video, I had a few comments in the comment section, and a couple of people sent me a DM saying, oh, people have told them that if you apply from the local council, that it's going against your maybe renewing your student visa once you finish studying, that it's like you're claiming public funds. And I was like, this video is just to clarify that as an international student in the UK, nothing stops you from renting from the local housing. If you go back to watch my previous video, I'm going to put the card up here. So like I said, and based on the advice that I gave before, that if you're an international student, let's say for example, you've already applied, you've gotten your admission, and you're due to start in August or September of this year, the advice I gave is that you should start looking into getting accommodation beforehand. And in this instance, for the fact that you've not arrived in the UK, the best bet or the best place to seek accommodation is renting via private landlords. So via private landlords could be through some housing online housing agencies. So it could be S1 Homes, it could be Rightmove, it could be Zoopla, it could be Gumtree. I'll leave a link of all these pages. I'll leave the link of them in the description bar. So if you're still in Nigeria, I will advise you to go through this website I've given you to start sourcing for your accommodation, because it's better you source for your accommodation before you leave Nigeria than getting here and then you're struggling or paying in an hotel where it's expensive, and then you're spending all the little change that you came from Nigeria. You're already spending it on hotel bills. So like I said, before you arrive, if you are starting in August or September of this year, the best thing is rent through a private landlord. And then those websites I mentioned, I'm going to place them in the description box. And when you're searching for your accommodation, I will advise you that you should take into consideration the postcode of the uni you are attending. So if your uni postcode is G28BY, pop the postcode onto this housing website, and then it's going to bring all the accommodation closer to you, to your unit. It's going to bring it out, and then you can just go based on maybe the cost or the price or whatever you see. If you like the house you see, you can just go based on that. And if you click on each of these housing, it will give you like the walking distance from your unit to where you're living. That is, if you're not driving, it will show you the walking distance to, like, if you're going to go from unit to the city center, it's going to give you the walking distance from the unit to maybe the train station, or even your transport, like how you're going to transport yourself if you're not driving. So best bet is popping your postcode on the website of any housing platform online, and then it will give you the map, location, direction of how to, like, maybe get into town, how to get into your uni. It makes life easy that way. And then, like I told you, landlords will ask for deposit. Private landlord will ask for deposit. Recently, from people that I know, they've been asking for 3 or 6 month deposit, and some are asking for a guarantor as well. That is, they want you to pay your rent and your deposit and bring somebody who is a resident in this country, who is working as like a guarantor. So that's what they're asking for, and I think this is because you're a student. That's why they're asking for this. So prior to the reason why I have come back on these videos, because someone said to me that their friend or somebody they know said they should not apply to the local housing because it means that they are applying for public funding, because obviously as a student it will say that no recourse to public funding. So when we're talking about no recourse to public funding, I'm just going to quickly look for that, what that means for you. So I'm reading straight and not from my head, okay? So what we are talking about, no recourse to public funding. This is mostly always on visiting visas and student visas. So what do we mean by no recourse to public funding? So according to this website, nrpfnetwork.org.uk is like a law website. So it says a person will have no recourse to public funds when they are subject to immigration control as defined at section 115 of the Immigration and Asylum Act 1999. A person who is subject to immigration control cannot claim public funds. So that is no cost of public fund means you cannot claim public funds. 1. Benefits and housing assistance. We will come back to benefit and housing assistance unless an exception applies. A person will be subject to immigration control when they have one of the following types of immigration status: leave to enter or remain in the UK, which is subject to the no recourse to public funds conditions, such as leave to enter as a visitor. Remember I said leave to no cost to public fund is always on visitors with visa. Leave to remain as a spouse, leave to remain as a student, leave to remain granted under family or private life. So I'm going to pop this website under this video as well in the description box. So like I said before, visitors normally their visas will say no cost to public fund. That is, they can't apply for benefits. Even if they are renting a house on their own, they can't apply or ask for any housing assistance. So as a student, you are here to study, and obviously the Home Office expects you to leave. That was why I said if you're coming from Nigeria, it's best to rent through private landlord, because 1, that will be your first address in the UK. That will be your first address in the UK. So while you are in that address, you are able to apply for bank accounts, you are able to apply to so many things like, most especially bank, you are able to apply for broadband, you're able to apply for mobile phones and stuff like that. So this is you building yourself up for staying in the country. So let's say for instance you've been in the country as a student and you've been renting from a private landlord for 6 months. You can apply to the local housing, and this information I'm bringing it direct from somebody who works within an housing association. In fact, that person works in the largest housing association here in Glasgow. So I called him and asked that, come, I know a couple of students have been asked this question, that can students not apply for local housing? It was like, why can't they apply? That they can apply, but each case is being dealt with according to its own merit. So the question they will be asking is that once you finish studying, do you intend to go back or intend to stay? And are you working? Are you able to pay your rent? Obviously, what landlord will not ask if you're able to pay your rent or not, or if you can afford to pay it. So those were the things I said to them that they will have to put into consideration. And yes, you can apply for housing through the local housing. Yes, you can do it. It's when they are talking about no recourse to public fund. No recourse to public fund is not you applying for housing. So if you're a full-time student now and you're applying for local housing from the local housing, you can apply, but you can't apply for help if you're struggling to pay your rent. So what I meant by applying for help to pay your rent is like housing benefits. You can't apply for that. So if you do that, that is you going against the conditions of your student visa. So if anybody's telling you can apply to local housing, that's gibberish. Go ahead. If you have the application, go ahead and fill it. Most of these housing association now, local housing association, you can apply on their website. They take application on their website. They are just going to be, so once they take application, they will obviously arrange a face-to-face appointment, and it's just to ask you if you work, if you're going to be going back, if you intend to go back, or you're staying here, and what kind of job are you doing. And they will obviously ask for your income based on the fact that you're a student. Will you be able to afford your rent? Will you be able to afford your bills? And if you've got children as well. So being a full-time student does not stop you from applying from the local housing. Yes, I find this like a first-hand legit information I'm giving you. If you're an international student in the UK, nothing stops you from applying to the local housing of whatever time. If you're in Glasgow, you can apply through Whitley Group, and there are lots of housing association, local housing association in Glasgow that you can apply to, but Whitley Group happens to be the largest housing association in Scotland. So, and yeah, if you apply through them, you won't get accommodation straight away, because you need to go through a process. You might have to be on the waiting list, and they release properties weekly whereby you can go bid. So once you fill your application, they'll assess you if you're needing a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, and they'll place you under a category, either a category A, B, C, D, or E, based on your circumstances. That's how they place you in categories, and all you need to do is just keep going to the website to bid for the property. And if it's your turn, they will ask you for a month rent. You have to pay your rent in advance before they give you your key. So people, if you are a student or you are nearing the end of your studying, nothing stops you from applying from the locals, because obviously you are a student and the Home Office expects you to live somewhere. They don't necessarily ask you to live in a school accommodation or live in a private accommodation for a very long time. The purpose of you renting for a start through a private landlord is because it helps you gain your first address, because once you're applying to this local housing, they will ask you where your previous address is. So that's why I said it's better you start looking into arranging your own accommodation or your own address before you leave Nigeria. So it's really easy. If you want to apply through private landlords before you arrive in Nigeria, go onto this website that I've mentioned. I'll pop them on the screen somewhere, and I'll also pop them in the description bar as well. Go onto this website. There's a way you can contact them on their website. There's a form you will fill. Give them the information. Oh, my name is blah 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 blah. I'm going to be a student. I'm starting so. I'm just looking to rent blah 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 blah. And like I said, if you already pop your postcode in and you're able to find an accommodation that I think is okay for you in terms of cost, then why not? If they see your message, they'll reply to you. They've got their phone numbers. It's anything you need to contact any of these housing agents, private agents, they've got all the information on their website. All you need to just do is scroll down to the bottom of any of these pages, click on their contact us. Some have a form you need to fill, some have their email there that you need to email, and some have their phone number if you're able to call, fine. And if you have somebody here in the UK who is able to do all those runs for you, it's okay. And remember, like I told you, do not send your money to anybody to rent accommodation for you until you arrive in the town you intend to study. So I hope this information is helpful to those of you who send me a DM, and to the comment I read from my previous video. Don't let anybody give you story. You can apply to rent from the local housing, and the only thing you can't do is applying for housing benefit. Like, you can't ask for help in terms of paying your rent. And like I said, when you apply, just as this information I got, when you apply, your application is based on its merit. If you're able to afford your rent, if you want to go back to Nigeria after you study, even if you try to go back, it's not going to stop you as long as you're able to pay your rent. That is the cocoa. And as you know, as an international student in the UK studying, while you're still studying, you are not supposed to pay council tax. You are not supposed to pay council tax as a full-time student. But if you are husband and wife, and the wife is a student and the husband is a dependent, which means that the husband can work as many hours as he wants to work, but the wife, you're only limited to a particular hours a week. For the fact that one of you is a student and the husband is a dependent, you only get 25% discount on your council tax. I know I'm digressing, this is going to be another story, but what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come back with another video explaining how council tax works as a student or as a couple where one person is a student. So in a household, husband and wife is a student, husband is working full-time, so you will still pay council tax, but you will get a discount. I believe it's 25% discount of your council tax. That's what you will pay. However, if both of you are students, you won't be paying any council tax. Or if you are just by yourself and you're renting from a private landlord or from the local housing, as long as you remain a student, you won't be paying any council tax. So if you guys want me to elaborate more in regards to that, please leave your comment in the comment section, and hopefully in the next video I'll try and elaborate more on that. So this comes to the end of my video. If there's anything you're not sure about in this video, feel free to pop me an email, send me a DM on my Instagram. I'll pop my Instagram handle here, and I'll try my best to give you an answer. And if I don't have the answer, I will point you in the right direction. And don't forget to look in the description box. I'm going to be leaving the links of this housing website, the private website and the local housing. I'm going to be leaving the links in the description box. And I hope you find this video really helpful. And if you're here to comment, do so now. If you're yet to like this video as well, what are you waiting for? And if you're yet to subscribe and turn on that tiny bell. And this bell is to notify you of any time I upload a video, so you'll be the first person to get notification and watch it. So I hope to catch up with you in my next video. Have an awesome week wherever you are. Bye.